all the discussions. So guys, I think you guys should really just come up or even be ready to come up if there's a question that's needed, and then I think Craig will be out here any second. All right, so questions. I know nobody wants to be the first. Okay, you do want to be the first. Go ahead. What's that? Were those on there before? I'm confused. What's that? Got it. Well, we definitely would look into whatever was in place before. I should say about the jerseys completely, those are completely prototypes. I mean, until you get to see them in person, you can see renderings all day long. Until you actually get to see them in person, you don't know exactly how it's going to fit the kid and how it's going to, match with the pads and things like that. So there's a couple of adjustments that I think we're going to make in relation to maybe making some of the logos smaller and things like that. But yeah, if that wasn't existent before, that was not something I was aware of, so we definitely could do that.
All right, with that, I'll open up the floor to questions. I'm sure there's a lot, so I'll start with you. Yep.
Okay. I'm the treasurer of our club, and I just wanted to know if there was any kind of financial support that's going to be coming down to the high school level, or any of the levels.
As it relates to some of the sponsorship monies, we're using that for the additional skill sessions. So the budgets for the teams will stay consistent. That was one of our goals, is try and keep that consistent. The only variable to that, there is, for the upper levels, we're getting the AWP at a very low reduced rate. It ends up being about $90 a player. So relative to most budgets, that's pretty small. So you're gonna get 3 months of dry land essentially for $90 for the upper levels, actually for all levels, for the teams that wish to do that. As it relates to fundraising, one of the things we are going to consistent, since you mentioned high school, is the yearbook. We're going to keep that going. In fact, we're looking to expand it, so hopefully have more opportunities. That's something we talked about, is maybe combining with the travel teams, have the travel teams in that, so it's one big yearbook for the whole organization. Hopefully it gives more opportunities to sell more books and raise more funds, and as well as sell more advertisements, which I know that was a great fundraiser for the high school, and we're looking to continue that on into the future. So does that answer your question?
No.
Okay. Nate.
Great. So in the past, there's been conflicting schedules with extra ice time as far as stuff that Kaylee runs and team schedules and stuff like that. Are we gonna be able to take care of some of that stuff to where the kids can get the extra ice time with Kaylee and other coaches that we want our kids to take part in?
Great question. That's one of the benefits of having Canlan as part of our partnership on the board. There's a lot of moving parts. Peggy, where are you at? She's somewhere around here. She can tell you there's a lot of moving parts on the schedule. We are in the process of putting that together, and our intent is to provide, so our extra skill sessions will be Monday nights, and we're trying to put all the travel teams and high school teams practicing opposite of their skill sessions, so they can actually participate in those skill sessions and still participate in the clinics as well. There's still a little few pieces to iron out, but we're really close, really close. Peg's ignoring me. But the intent is to provide that extra ice time and availability for that, because that's what we want for all of our kids to be able to have that. So. Yes. So right now, a few little things to finalize right now, but there'll be a skill session every Monday night for the travel teams. For high school, we're going to have them on the weekends. Mainly because the travel teams are usually traveling on the weekends. So the travel team skill session will be Monday night, and we're going to rotate them. The intent would be to combine some of the similar age groups so that we can get them on the ice twice a month. So if you think about that, you'll have 2 practices a week. So in a month time, you're going to have essentially 10 times on the ice. Average maybe a little bit more, 10 hours or plus on the ice just with practice alone. We're trying to offer that, and we may be doing more of these high performance weekends as well as we go through the season. So, but I'll come back to you. Hold on a second.
Are you looking into ways also to get more girls involved? Because I've got a daughter who's been on the ice since she was 3. You know her.
I'd love to. I'm a father of 5. I have 1 boy. Unfortunately, none of my girls, for whatever reason, aren't interested in hockey. And it's not because of my own effort of trying to get them there. In fact, I was contacted by a group up in South Bend that's actually trying to get like a Team Indiana together for girls, just because that exists across the area. We definitely would like to get that. If we could have a girls team and get a girls team formed, I think that would be awesome. I know Trine intends to have 3 girls teams when they get there. If we could actually be able to be in a position to feed that, that'd be fantastic in my opinion. So, Tracy, sorry.
So for the travel teams, is the cost gonna increase then?
Again, our intent was to actually keep the budget the same. So for the travel teams, I'm roughly 2,000, 2,100, 2,200, depending on the level. Short of the AWP add-in, which there were a couple teams that were doing dry land, and I want to say the Pee Wee AA was doing dry land this year, and I want to say they were spending, DJ still back there? 200 player paid extra?
Yeah.
$100?
Yeah.
So we'll be $90. You can get AWP training and depending on the age level, that's actually 3 hours a week.
Yeah, so it's $30 for the first 3 months.
Right, $30 for first 3 months.
And then if the team opts into doing it during the season, it will be another 6 months. So that's 9 months of training for $190.
So, minimal cost, we can get you 9 months of training through AWP on top of that. So there is a little bit of an upcharge just for that benefit, but we're also adding the extra ice time and skill sessions. So I think the balance of the two really provides a nice balance for what we're trying to do with our team players. So.
Hey, Coach. For those of us, some of us that have been involved in house coaching or assisting with selects and stuff with varying levels of USA Hockey membership, how is the structure going to be run now? Are there going to be significant changes to, and trust me, I'm not saying this as someone that feels slighted, I'm just saying, are we trying to find a different level of coach maybe to be involved in this?
I think we're always trying to put the best coach for that team whenever we can. Kaylee, you want to step up and kind of talk about that a little, because Kaylee's really in charge of coaching, and I know you have some thoughts on that, so I'm going to let him kind of speak to that.
So obviously what we're trying to do is we want to keep the coaches in the house program, right, that have done it for the past few years, at least since I've been here, in the house program, unless they want to go to selective, they want to go to travel. We're always looking to develop the coaches the same way we're looking to develop the players. We want to potentially, hopefully this year, do our best to try to have kids play at their birth year. So ideally, I don't know if this helps answer your question, but having kids at the AA level all at their birth year, kids at the single A level all at their birth year, and then the select team would be a mixed bag. For kids that maybe didn't make it on their AA team, that couldn't play down. But we want to develop our coaches the same way we want to develop our players. But the house league, we're also adding skill sessions for them as well, and for the coaches on Saturdays. We want to do more. Right now, we have 50 minutes of practice a week for the house league, which is all skill development. What we're trying to do with those skill sessions at the house level is teach more of the X's and O's. I know that USA Hockey, the ADM, it's all skill development, but I'm seeing that our house program, the kids, I think they're being a little bit slighted on their positioning, and teaching our coaches and the players on Saturdays once a month about breaking the puck out of their zone, or about defensive zone coverage. I think that will help the coaches and the players at the house league level progress and understand hockey aside from the skills. Does that help answer your question? Okay.
Could you touch a bit more on the tryout format that you guys are trying to implement, or that we want to have?
You're talking about the birth year format?
Yeah, just whatever you're trying to explain a little more detail. We're going with that.
So part of this program, if you look at a lot of programs around the country, a lot of them are moving to a birth year. And those of you that participated north of us in the Little Caesars League, everything is birth year. And it's birth year based on the oldest player on your team. So you could have an all 06 team with an 05 on it and become an 05 team with a birth year organization. Part of our intent was to be more consistent with those around us. So we're trying to break it up. If you look at it across the board where we're at, we're pretty close to birth years already. There's been a few exceptions. Most teams are almost consistently all 05s, all 06s, all 04s, 03s, 07s. They're kind of, there's a few exceptions here and there, but we're really close. We know it's gonna be a little tough over the next couple of years, but I think our intent is to try and move that direction so we can be more consistent. The tryout format is intended that your son or daughter would actually try out at their birth year. And then we would look and evaluate where we need, if there's players we need up or down, primarily up is where we'd be going. But based on who try out above that. But the intent is actually to try out at your birth year tryout, and then we kind of evaluate at that point. Does that answer your question, or are you still confused, or?
Answer my question.
Okay. Yes.
Will, the select travel as opposed to the regular travel, will they still be, required to do the house league and select? And will they have then the same training that the full travel is having?
Yes, so the select, and that's always been consistent with select. Select always played house as part of it's kind of a transitional period. The skill sessions are still Monday nights, right? Yeah, so the skill sessions for Monday nights will still be for travel and select. So those same Monday nights will do that. And for any select players that are thinking about coming out for travel, I'd encourage them to go to the high performance weekend as well. I think that's a good opportunity to kind of see what kind of additional skill sets we can kind of develop, and we're always looking for kids that want to move into that next level and play. So they're going to get that same development. We want to develop. My son plays both right now, and I can see there's a skill development that we need to close the gap between the two, and that's what I've been talking with Kaylee about as well. Way in the back.
Okay, so with the skill sessions, are we going to have more like structured goalie development, like the skill sessions that we have right now, or just like start to talk about? I mean, I know we have to wait for the
So the question, and it kind of drifted off right at the bottom, if I understood the question, is during the skill sessions, we're going to have more goalie focused skill sessions. I'm going to let Kaylee talk to that.
Yeah, so what we're doing is I'm forming a skill team, and there will be goaltending instructors on the skill team. So for every skill session we have on a Monday night, we'll always have a goalie coach out there. Also, same thing for high performance weekend. We're going to have a goalie instructor on the ice with for every practice. That's one thing that we need to do a better job of in Fort Wayne is, the goalie is the most important, in my opinion, the most important position in hockey, and that's where you start from, if you want to build a strong team. So we're definitely going to have goalie instructors on the ice, and the skill sessions will also be combined by age too. So it'll be better for the skill guys that are out there. They'll have kids of all one age, or at least scored Pee-wee. So that way, each station can be run the same way with each group for each different coach. So that'll really help having each age group on the ice for that time on that certain Monday. Patiently waiting.
I have a follow-up question to the mark year issue. So, for example, I have a U15 that played U18 last year for AWP. How does that, are they like grandfathered in? They kind of played last year? Going back to what Haley said about them playing according to their birth year.
I think when it comes to player development, I don't think, I wouldn't say grandfathered in. I think we have to look at it at what's best for that kid at that time. So it's not about, whatever rule we had in the past or making new rules. It's about looking at each kid at that time after tryouts and saying, okay, what's best for this kid's development? Does he need to play on the U16 team in your case and develop his skills? Or is he outstanding amongst his peers, right? And he is not going to develop with that age group, so then it makes sense for him to play up. But I don't think we really have any rules to necessarily follow. It's going to be, evaluating each player at tryouts and making the best decision for that player, right? And I think it's important sometimes. I know there's a lot of questions on, play ups and is my kid going to be allowed to play up? But I think sometimes we overlook the importance of, leadership skills, and ice time. I would rather, if I had a kid, which I don't, but I know this from playing in Fort Wayne until my senior year of high school. That's when I moved away. But I played on some really bad teams where I got a ton of ice time, and I'll tell you that was everything I needed to get to the next level. It's not about playing on this AAA team or the best AA team. It's about your kid getting as many reps as possible and developing leadership skills. Is he making the players around him better? Those are things that I think sometimes we forget about when, as parents and as athletes and players, that are extremely important if you really want your kid to advance down the road. So I hope that answers your question.
Kaylee, if I may, my kids went and played AAA this year, it didn't work out. And we came all the way back down and played Squirt Select for Kaylee, and it was definitely the right choice and the best coaching and the right decision for the kid. It helped along with a lot of people from Fort Wayne, especially Kaylee. So.
Thank you, Nate. And I also don't want to come across the wrong way. If a kid is good enough